When I got falsely arrested, my parents refused bail. Not from lack of money, but from pure spite. Finally, prison where this waste of space belongs. My father told the lawyer, "Don't help him. He's dead to us. Let her rot." I just smiled through the bars and said, "You'll regret this decision forever." That was 2 years ago. Last week, they learned about my carefully executed plan. Today, they're sobbing uncontrollably. "You can't do this to your own parents. Please forgive us." So, I guess I'm just going to throw this out there because I can't sleep and I keep replaying it in my head. And honestly, I want to see if anyone else has had something this nuts happen with their family. I'm not looking for sympathy. I just want to get it out and maybe someone will get why I'm so pissed. If you think I'm making this up, whatever. I get it. It sounds fake, but I swear it's real. I'm not even sure where to start, so I'll just go with the weirdest part first. It was a Tuesday. I remember because I had this dumb habit of getting a gas station coffee on Tuesdays and my mom always made a face about it like I was poisoning myself. Anyway, I came home and the house was weirdly quiet, which is not normal. My dad's usually got the TV on. My mom's always on her phone, but that day, nothing. I walked in and my mom was just sitting at the kitchen table, not scrolling, just staring at her mug. My dad was standing by the window, arms crossed, not even pretending to look at anything. I said, "Hey." And my mom just nodded. Didn't even look up. I thought maybe someone died or something, but nobody said anything. I went to my room and noticed my door was open, which is not normal because I always close it. My stuff was all over the bed like someone had gone through it. I asked my mom if she'd been in my room and she just said she was tidying up. I said it didn't look tidy and she just shrugged. My dad didn't say anything, just kept standing there. I started to get this weird feeling like I was being set up for something, but I couldn't figure out what. So, I go to plug in my phone and realize my charger is missing. I ask my mom. She says she hasn't seen it. I check the living room. Nothing. I go back to my room and see my backpack is gone. I ask my dad. He just says maybe I left it somewhere. I know I didn't. I start to get annoyed. And my mom tells me to calm down. Says I'm always so dramatic. I say I'm not being dramatic. I just want my stuff. She says maybe if I was more responsible, I wouldn't lose things. I say I didn't lose it. Someone took it. My dad finally turns around and says I need to stop blaming everyone else for my problems. So, I just go to my room and try to ignore it, but I can't. I text my sister, Lola, who's at her friend's place, and she says she hasn't seen my backpack. She says mom was acting weird earlier, asking her if she knew where I kept my important things. Lola thought it was about my passport or something, but now she's not sure. I tell her to let me know if she hears anything else. Next morning, I wake up to my dad banging on my door, tells me to get up. We need to talk. I go to the kitchen and my mom's already there, arms crossed, looking pissed. My dad says they're tired of my attitude and my laziness. I say I'm not lazy. I'm working and taking classes. What more do they want? My mom says I'm just wasting time. That I'll never amount to anything. That I'm just dragging them down. I say that's not fair. I pay rent. I help out. I don't ask for anything. My dad says it's not enough, that I'm a burden, that they're done. I ask what that means. And my mom says I need to move out. I say I don't have anywhere to go and she says that's not her problem. My dad says I should have thought about that before I disrespected them. I ask what I did and he just says I know what I did. I honestly have no idea. I ask if this is about the time I forgot to take out the trash. And my mom just laughs. Says it's not about the trash. It's about everything. I say that's not an answer. And my dad says I'm just making excuses. I try to stand up for myself. Say I'm not leaving. I have a right to be here. I pay rent. My dad says it's their house, their rules, and if I don't like it, I can leave. I say, fine, I'll leave, but I want my stuff. My mom says my stuff is already packed, points to a bag by the door. I go to grab it and my dad blocks me. Says, I'm not taking anything I didn't pay for. I say, most of it is mine. And he says, prove it. I say, I have receipts. And he says he doesn't care. I try to push past him and he shoves me back. I shove him and he slaps me. I just stand there, not sure what to do. My mom tells me to get out before she calls the cops. I grab my bag and leave. I'm standing outside. It's raining and I have no idea what to do. I text Lola. She says she can't help. Mom told her not to talk to me. I try to call a friend, but my phone dies. I go to a coffee shop, try to charge my phone, but my charger's still missing. I just sit there staring at the wall, trying to figure out what the hell just happened. Later that day, I get a call from a number I don't know. It's a lawyer, says my parents want a restraining order. That's why. He says they claim I threatened them. I say that's not true. He says it's not his problem. He's just doing his job. I ask if I can go back and get my stuff. He says no. Not unless they agree. I say they won't. He says then I'm out of luck. I spend the next few days crashing on a friend's couch trying to figure out what to do. I try to get my bank account info, but my parents already changed the password. I try to get my car, but it's gone. I call the police. They say it's a civil matter. Nothing they can do. I try to get a new phone, but my parents canceled my plan. I'm basically cut off from everything. I start to realize this wasn't just about me being annoying or lazy. My parents have always been strict, but this is next level. I think they just wanted me gone, like I was some kind of embarrassment. I know my dad's always been disappointed in me. He wanted me to be like him, but I never was. My mom just goes along with whatever he says. I guess they finally decided they were done pretending. I'm not going to lie, I was angry. Not just at them, but at myself for not seeing it coming. I always thought if I just worked harder, they'd respect me. But I guess that was never going to happen. I started thinking about how I could get back at them. Not just for kicking me out, but for everything. I wanted them to feel what I felt. To know what it's like to be powerless. I started making a list of everything they'd done. Every time they'd put me down, every time they'd made me feel like nothing, I started thinking about ways to hit them where it hurt. Not just emotionally, but financially. I knew things about them, things they wouldn't want anyone else to know. I started making plans. I know some people are going to say I should just move on, but I can't. Not after everything. They made their choice. Now I'm making mine. That's how it started. I'm not done yet. If you want to know what happened next, let me know. I'm just getting started. Update 1. Alright. So, I didn't expect so many people to actually read the first part, but I guess everyone loves a good family train wreck. I'm still not sure if I'm writing this for me or for the people who keep demaying me, but whatever. Here's what happened after they kicked me out. And yeah, I'm still mad. And no, I'm not gonna just move on. If you're looking for a feel-good story, you're in the wrong place. So, after the whole get out, you're dead to us thing, I was basically couch surfing. I had a bag of clothes, my phone, which was about to get cut off, and like $40. I was sleeping on this old futon at my friend's place, and every morning I'd wake up and just stare at the ceiling, thinking about how my parents were probably sitting at home acting like nothing happened. I kept replaying the last thing my dad said about how I finally belonged somewhere like jail was where I was always meant to end up. I know it sounds dramatic, but that's literally what he said to the lawyer. My mom just nodded along like she was relieved. The weirdest part was how normal everything felt for everyone else. My friend's mom would come in, ask if I wanted toast like I was just visiting for the weekend. I'd scroll through my phone to see my parents posting on Facebook about their peaceful home and new beginnings. It was like I'd been erased. I started to get this itch like if they wanted me gone so bad, maybe I should actually disappear, but not before making sure they felt it. The first thing I did was try to get my stuff back. I texted Lola, my sister, and she said Mom had boxed up all my things and put them in the garage. I asked if she could grab my laptop and she said she'd try, but Mom was watching her like a hawk. I told her not to get involved, but she just sent me a thumbs up. Classic Lola, always trying to help even when it's a bad idea. Then out of nowhere, I get a call from a number I don't know. It's my dad's lawyer again. He says my parents want to make sure I don't come near the house and that if I try to contact them, they'll press charges. I ask what for, and he just says trespassing, harassment, whatever sticks. I ask if I can at least get my stuff, and he says I'll have to arrange it through him. I say fine, but I want everything, not just what they decide to give me. He says he'll see what he can do. I hang up and just sit there staring at my phone, thinking about how my parents are literally paying a lawyer to keep me away, but wouldn't pay bail to get me out. So, I start making a list, not just of my stuff, but of everything I know about my parents. I know their passwords. They never changed them, even after I moved out. I know where they keep their important papers. I know who they owe money to. My dad's always been obsessed with looking successful, but he's actually terrible with money. He's got credit card debt, a second mortgage, and he's always borrowing from family. My mom pretends like everything's fine, but she's always stressed about bills. I start thinking if they want to cut me off, maybe I can cut them off too. I start by logging into my old email, the one my dad set up for me when I was a kid. Turns out he never changed the recovery info, so I still have access. I see a bunch of emails from banks, credit card companies, even a couple from debt collectors. I don't do anything yet, just read through them, trying to figure out how bad it is. It's worse than I thought. They're behind on payments, and there's a notice about their car being repossessed if they don't pay soon. I take screenshots just in case. Meanwhile, I'm still trying to get my stuff. I text the lawyer again. He says I can come by the house at a certain time, but only if I bring someone with me as a witness. I ask my friend Pablo to come and he says sure, but he's not getting in the middle of anything. We show up and my dad's waiting at the door, arms crossed, looking like he's about to explode. My mom's behind him holding a box. I ask if that's all my stuff and she says it's what I deserve. I say I want to check and my dad says I can look, but if I take anything that's not mine, he'll call the cops. I open the box and half my stuff is missing. I ask where my laptop is and my dad says it's evidence. I ask evidence of what and he just shrugs. I try to grab the box and he grabs my arm. I pull away and he shoves me. Pablo steps in, tells him to back off. My mom slams the door. We leave and Pablo just shakes his head, says, "My parents are nuts." I say, "Yeah, tell me something I don't know." I go back to my friend's place, dump out the box, and realize my hard drive is missing. That's when I really start to get angry, not just at them, but at myself for letting it get this far. So, I start planning. Not just petty stuff, but real payback. I know my parents rely on their image, so I start telling the truth to people who actually matter. I text my aunt, who's always been nosy, and tell her what happened. She doesn't believe me at first, says my parents would never do that. I send her screenshots of the emails, the lawyer's messages, everything. She calls my mom, and apparently there's a huge fight because my mom texts Lola saying I'm trying to ruin the family. Lola tells me to be careful. Says, Mom is freaking out. I start thinking about money. My parents always made me pay rent, even when I was broke. I know they need that money, so I stop paying. I also know my dad uses my name for some of the bills. So, I call the companies and tell them to take my name off everything. It takes a few days, but eventually they start calling my dad instead of me. He texts me, says I'm being ungrateful. I don't respond. I also start talking to people my parents owe money to. Not in a mean way, just letting them know what's going on. I tell them my parents kicked me out, that I'm not responsible for their debts. Some of them are pissed, some just say they're sorry. Either way, it gets back to my parents. My dad calls me, leaves a voicemail, says I'm destroying the family. I delete it. Meanwhile, Lola is still stuck at home. She says Mom is getting more paranoid, checking her phone, asking if she's talking to me. Lola says she's not, but she is. She tells me Mom is worried about what people will think if they find out what really happened. I tell her not to worry. I'm not going to drag her into it. She says she can handle it. I start to notice my parents are getting desperate. My dad starts posting weird stuff on Facebook, like passive-aggressive quotes about betrayal and family loyalty. My mom starts texting me asking if we can talk. I ignore her. I know they're only reaching out because they're scared, not because they actually care. The last straw is when I find out my parents tried to open a credit card in my name. I get an alert from the bank saying there was suspicious activity. I call them, tell them it's not me, and they freeze the account. I text my dad. Tell him if he tries it again, I'll go to the police. He doesn't respond. So yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm not done yet, but I'm just getting started. My parents wanted me gone now. They're going to find out what that really means. I'm not just going to disappear. I'm going to make sure they feel it every single day. If you're still reading, thanks. I guess I'll update when there's more. Trust me, it gets worse. Update 2. So, I guess this is the part where things actually started to get interesting, or at least more real. I didn't expect it to go this far, honestly. But once you start pushing back, it's like you can't stop. You ever get that feeling where you're just done being the one who gets walked on? That's where I was at. I was tired of being the family scapegoat. Tired of everyone acting like I was the problem when all I ever did was try to keep my head down and not make waves. But after the jail thing, after they left me there and told the lawyer not to help, I just couldn't let it go. I know some people would say I should have just moved on, but nah, not after that. So anyway, it started with something small. I was scrolling through my phone, just doom scrolling, and I saw my dad had posted this weird meme about cutting out toxic people and family isn't always blood. Like, dude, you're the one who left your own kid in jail. But sure, go off. I didn't even react. Just took a screenshot and sent it to Lola. She just replied with a laughing emoji and then said, Mom was acting weird, like checking her phone every 5 minutes, snapping at her for no reason. Lola said she was thinking about moving out, but she didn't have anywhere to go yet. I told her to hang in there, that things were about to get messy. I started with the money stuff because I knew that's where it would hurt. My parents always cared more about appearances than anything else. They'd rather have people think we were rich than actually be okay. I knew they were behind on bills, so I started poking at the weak spots. I called the phone company and made sure my name was off everything. I called the bank and told them to freeze any joint accounts with my name. I even called the insurance company and told them I wasn't living at that address anymore, so they'd have to update the policy. It was all legit. Nothing illegal, just making sure I wasn't on the hook for anything. But it made things a lot harder for them and I knew it. Then I started talking to people, not just family, but people my parents owed money to. I didn't go out of my way to start drama, but if someone asked, I told them the truth. I told them my parents kicked me out, that I wasn't responsible for their debts, that if they wanted their money, they should talk to my dad. Word got around fast. My uncle called me, said he heard I was causing trouble. I told him I was just telling the truth. He said I should be careful, that my dad was pissed. I said I didn't care. My parents started getting desperate. My dad called me, left this long voicemail about how I was ruining the family and how I'd regret it. I didn't even listen to the whole thing, just deleted it. My mom texted me, said I was being cruel. I ignored her. I knew they were only reaching out because they were scared, not because they actually cared. Lola started sending me updates. She said Mom was crying a lot. Dad was yelling more than usual. He even threw his phone at the wall one night. Lola said she was staying out of the way, but she was worried about what would happen if things got worse. I told her to keep her head down, that I'd figure something out. Then one day, I got a message from an old family friend, Jane. She said she heard I was having a rough time, asked if I needed anything. I told her I was fine, but she said she'd heard some stuff about my parents, that they were in trouble. I asked what she meant, and she said she didn't want to get involved, but that people were talking. I thanked her and left it at that, but it got me thinking. If people were already talking, maybe I could push it a little further. So, I started dropping hints. Nothing crazy, just little things. I'd comment on my dad's posts asking if he'd paid back Soando yet. I'd reply to my mom's Facebook stories with questions about the bills. I knew it would get under their skin, and it did. My dad blocked me. My mom started posting even more passive-aggressive stuff. Lola said they were freaking out that Dad was talking about cutting ties with everyone who sided with me. Then came the real pressure. I knew my dad had a side hustle he was trying to keep quiet, something he didn't want the rest of the family to know about. I didn't doubt him, but I made sure the right people started asking questions. I told my uncle about it just in passing, and suddenly my dad was getting calls from everyone. He called me screaming, said I was destroying everything. I hung up. My mom tried to get Lola to spy on me. Asked her if I was planning anything. Lola played dumb. Said she didn't know anything. Mom got mad, slapped her, and Lola slammed her door. She texted me after, said she was done, that she was moving out as soon as she could. I told her I'd help her find a place. The next week, my parents started getting calls from creditors. I know because my dad texted me, said I was ruining their lives. I told him he did that himself. He didn't reply. Then out of nowhere, my mom showed up at the place I was staying. She was crying, said she just wanted to talk. I told her I didn't have anything to say. She tried to hug me. I pushed her away. She started yelling, said I was ungrateful, that I was tearing the family apart. I told her she did that when she left me in jail. She slapped me. I just stood there. She left, slammed the door. After that, things got even messy. My dad started calling everyone, trying to get them to take his side. Some people did, but most just stayed out of it. My aunt called me, said she didn't want to get involved, but that my parents were not doing well. I said that was their problem. Lola finally moved out, crashed with a friend. She said mom was texting her nonstop, begging her to come home. Lola blocked her. I told her she could stay with me if she needed to. So, yeah, that's where things are at. My parents are basically alone. Everyone knows what they did, and they're scrambling to keep up appearances. I'm not done yet, but they're starting to feel it. I know some people will say I'm being harsh, but after everything they did, I don't care. They wanted me gone. Now they get to see what that really means. I'll update when there's more. Trust me, it's not over. Final update. So, I guess this is the part everyone's been waiting for, or at least the part I've been waiting for, honestly. I didn't think it would actually get to this point, but here we are. If you've read the other parts, you know my parents left me in jail. Told the lawyer not to help. Basically said I was dead to them. I told them they'd regret it. I meant it. I'm not going to pretend I'm some mastermind, but I'm not stupid either. I just paid attention and I didn't let it go. The first weird thing was my dad texting me out of nowhere like nothing had happened. He sent this short message, just said, "Can we talk?" No punctuation, no explanation. I didn't answer. Then my mom started calling like 3 times in a row, which she never does. I let it go to voicemail. She left this long message, her voice all shaky, saying they needed to see me, that it was important. I didn't call back. I guess I should have expected it, but it still felt weird. After 2 years of nothing, suddenly they're desperate to talk. Lola texted me, said mom was freaking out, crying all the time. Dad was barely sleeping. She said they were fighting about money, about the house, about me. I asked if she was okay. She said she was fine, just tired of the drama. She said Dad was blaming her for not keeping the family together. She told him to get lost and slammed her door. So, here's what actually happened. I'd been working on this for a while, not just out of spite, but because I wanted them to feel what they did to me. I knew their weak spots. I knew about the loans, the credit cards, the second mortgage. I knew my dad was using my name for some of the bills, and I made sure to get my name off everything. I told the bank, the phone company, the insurance, everyone. I made sure they couldn't use me as a safety net anymore. But the real thing was the house. My parents always acted like the house was untouchable, like it was the one thing that proved they were better than everyone else. But they were behind on payments and I knew it. I also knew they'd used my info for some of the paperwork back when I was still living there. I talked to a lawyer, explained the situation, and he said I had every right to make sure my name wasn't on anything. So I did. I sent the paperwork, made the calls, did everything by the book. It took months, but eventually the bank started asking questions. My parents got letters, calls, all of it. They tried to blame me, said I was sabotaging them. I said I was just protecting myself. They tried to guilt me, said I was tearing the family apart. I said they did that when they left me in jail. My dad tried to get in my face once. Showed up at my place, started yelling. I told him to leave. He tried to push past me. I blocked the door. He shoved me. I shoved him back. He called me a traitor. Said I'd regret it. I just laughed and closed the door. The next week, I started getting messages from people I barely knew. Old family, friends, neighbors, even some of my parents' friends from church. They all wanted to know what was going on, why my parents were suddenly selling stuff, why they were talking about moving. I just said, ask them. I didn't owe anyone an explanation. Then came the day my parents actually showed up together. I was at home just scrolling through my phone and I heard banging on the door. I looked through the peephole and saw both of them, looking like they hadn't slept in days. I opened the door, a crack, just enough to see them, but not let them in. My mom started crying right away. Said they were sorry, said they needed my help. My dad just stood there, arms crossed, looking like he wanted to punch something. I asked what they wanted. My mom said they were losing the house, that the bank was going to take it, that they didn't know what to do. She said they needed me to fix it, to talk to the bank to make it go away. My dad finally spoke, said I was their son, that I owed them. I just stared at them. I said, "You left me in jail. You told everyone I was dead to you. Now you want my help." My mom started begging, literally on her knees, grabbing my arm. I pulled away. My dad tried to act tough. Said I was being childish. That family sticks together. I said, "Family doesn't leave you to rot." He tried to push past me. I blocked him. He shoved me. I shoved him back. My mom slapped me. I just stood there. She started sobbing, saying I couldn't do this to them. That I was their only hope. I told them I was done. I said they made their choice. Now they had to live with it. I said I wasn't going to save them, that they'd have to figure it out themselves. My dad started yelling, said I was ungrateful, that I'd regret it. I just closed the door. After that, they tried everything. They called Lola, begged her to talk to me. She blocked them. They tried to get my aunt involved, but she just said it was between us. They even tried to get some of my old friends to talk to me, but nobody wanted to get involved. They were alone. I heard from Lola that they ended up selling the house, moving into some tiny apartment. My dad lost most of his friends. My mom stopped posting on Facebook. They're basically ghosts now. Sometimes I see them around town, but they never look at me. I don't go out of my way to avoid them, but I don't talk to them either. I know some people are going to say I went too far, that I should have forgiven them, but I don't care. They left me in jail, told everyone I was dead to them. They wanted me gone. Now they know what that really means. So yeah, that's it. I'm not looking for advice or sympathy. I just wanted to tell the story. If you're still reading, thanks, I guess. I don't know what happens next, but I'm not worried about it. I did what I had to do. They made their choice and now they get to live with it.